She was just a poor nanny. He was a lonely CEO who had forgotten what love felt like. But one handwritten note, left quietly on a table, would change both of their lives forever. In the heart of New York City, inside a glass penthouse high above the noise, a man with everything, money, power, respect, and realized he had nothing that truly mattered. Until a simple birthday card, written by the one person he barely noticed, reminded him what love and family really mean. Sometimes, one small act of kindness can rewrite a life. Watch till the end. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more emotional stories that remind us what truly matters. The city buzzed softly below, lights shimmering against the early dusk. Michael Donovan sat in silence, the words from Lily's letter echoing in his mind. He had spent years building an empire, a company valued in billions, yet somehow the simplest words from a young woman with nothing had reached where no deal or success ever could. He looked around his grand penthouse, the spotless marble, the expensive art, the empty chairs, and realized how cold it all felt. Somewhere between success and survival, he had forgotten what life meant. That night, he walked into his daughter's room. Emma was fast asleep, clutching her stuffed bear. The birthday card she made lay on her bedside table, covered in glitter and love. Michael smiled faintly, his chest tightening with emotion. He bent down, brushed a strand of hair from her forehead, and whispered, "I'm sorry I've been gone so much, sweetheart." For the first time in years, he felt tears in his eyes. That little card, that innocent note, had broken the wall he'd built around his heart. The next morning, Lily arrived early, humming softly as she set up Emma's breakfast. When Michael entered the kitchen, she froze, surprised. "He never came down this early." He smiled, a real smile, and said, "Good morning, Lily." She nodded awkwardly, unsure what to say. "Emma will be up soon, sir," she replied quietly. But Michael shook his head. "Please call me Michael," he said. That one sentence made her pause. It was the first time he had spoken to her not as an employer, but as a person. Over the next few days, Michael began changing small things. He started having breakfast with Emma before work, walked her to the elevator, and even helped Lily with the dishes. The household staff whispered among themselves. The once distant CEO seemed human again. But for Michael, it wasn't about appearances. It was about rediscovering love through the gentle reminder of someone who saw him not as a billionaire, but as a father. Late one evening, after Emma went to bed, Michael approached Lily as she was preparing to leave. "Lily," he said softly, "your letter. It reminded me of what really matters." "Thank you." She looked startled. "I didn't mean to overstep, sir. He interrupted gently. "You didn't overstep. You helped me find my way back." For a moment, they simply stood there, two people from different worlds, connected by sincerity. As she walked out into the cool night air, Lily smiled to herself. She had no idea that her simple act of kindness had planted the seed for something extraordinary. And inside that penthouse, Michael sat by the window again, but this time, he wasn't alone in his thoughts. He was thinking about his daughter, about second chances, and about the woman whose quiet compassion had awakened the father and the man he thought he'd lost forever. The sun peeked through the tall glass windows as a new warmth filled the Donovan penthouse. Michael found himself smiling more often, and laughter began to replace the long, echoing silence that once haunted the halls. Each morning he would join Lily and Emma at breakfast, listening to his daughter's stories about school and her dreams. For the first time in years, he wasn't rushing to board meetings or drowning in emails. He was present. Lily noticed it quietly, the way his eyes softened when Emma giggled, the way he listened without checking his phone. Something in him had awakened, and it all started with a simple note. Weeks turned into months, and the walls that once separated their worlds began to fade. On weekends, they'd visit Central Park, Emma chasing pigeons, Lily holding her coffee cup, and Michael walking beside them, at peace. People passing by might have mistaken them for a small family, and in many ways, that's exactly what they had become. For Michael, the moments with Lily and Emma were more precious than any boardroom victory. He began to look forward to Lily's calm voice, her quiet laugh, and the kindness she carried in everything she did. She was humble, yet she had changed his entire home. One evening, as the city lights shimmered outside, Michael sat in his office holding the small letter Lily had written months ago. It had creases now, worn from being read too many times. When Lily walked in, her expression nervous, he smiled and handed her the blue box he'd chosen carefully that afternoon. "For everything you've done for Emma," he said, his tone soft, almost trembling, "and for reminding me what really matters." When she opened it, her eyes filled with tears. "Sir, I was just doing my job," she whispered. But Michael shook his head gently. "No, Lily, you gave us back our hearts." After that night, their bond only grew deeper. Michael began involving her in his charity projects, trusting her compassion and insight. She helped organize fundraisers for struggling families, using her own experiences to make a difference. The world had once seen Lily as just a nanny, but now she stood beside one of the most powerful men in the city, not because of money, but because of heart. Her warmth became the quiet center of Michael's world. He didn't know when admiration turned into something deeper, but it was undeniable. Months later, during a charity gala hosted in his garden, Emma danced under fairy lights while the band played softly. Michael stood beside Lily, the woman who had unknowingly rewritten his story. He turned to her and said quietly, "You once wrote that I built a world full of success but forgot my little world at home. You helped me rebuild it." She looked at him, eyes glistening in the soft glow of the lights, and before she could reply, he whispered, "Happy birthday to the woman who gave me back my life." As the night breeze carried laughter and music, Lily smiled. Not as an employee, but as someone who had finally found her place. Sometimes it isn't wealth that changes a person's life. It's kindness, written on a small piece of paper, left quietly on a table waiting to be found.